both in front and behind the scenes. I honestly, I can't wait to see him, get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it next year, although I would love if they would wait until they went down to Texas for another WrestleMania, because I think that would be the perfect environment to go off and to do it. I hate when they go off and rush in the Hall of Fame, but in this case, I mean, I would forgive them if they decided to do it next year.
Now, the biggest thing I have to ask you, because obviously you are a lot more of a wrestling fan than I am. For such a great icon as The Undertaker, do you feel that a loss in his final WrestleMania was the right way to do this?
It's the old school way to do it. There's a lot of fanboys that are on the internet who are crying foul about this, who are putting up fits and everything, and all I gotta tell them is to grow up. Okay, this is the old school way. You go out on your back, and you put over the talent to beat you. And that's exactly what Undertaker did. From what I understand, he chose Roman Reigns for his last match. He chose to go off and to do this, and now it's Roman Reigns' opportunity to take the ball and run with it. From what I understand, with just one sentence, he went off and that he said last night he's off to a great start.
Yeah, from what I've heard, that there's quite possibly the opportunity now of turning Roman Reigns into a bit more of the heel character and less of the baby face.
I will touch on that. It was funny because Triple H went off and he touched on this, and people were saying, why don't you turn Roman Reigns heel? Why don't you guys turn Roman Reigns heel? This is, well, you know what? The way we're portraying him, if you guys want to view him as being a heel, then he's a heel. He's not trying to act like a good guy here. He's not trying to act like a villain. He's just being him. And if you hate him, for that, then great. He's doing his job. If you love him, then okay. But I mean, he doesn't have to quote unquote turn heel, because in the perception of almost everyone, he already is a heel.
No, and that's actually a really good point. Now, I really would like to see him get rid of his, body armor. I hate it.
And part of it is there is this thing that WWE is trying to get over that is called the Roman Empire. You will hear them go off and bring it up on commentary and everything. And a lot of people think, oh, well, he's just wearing shield armor. No, if you actually take a look at the armor, it doesn't look a lot, it looks a little bit like it, but I mean, it looks more like gladiator armor. And so, and that's what they're going for. They're doing the whole Roman Empire thing here. And so, I mean, it's just, an addition to his character. So, I mean, I don't personally have a problem with it. I mean, it sets him apart from a lot of the other, muscle heads, that are out there. And so, good for him. No, just leave that alone.
So, that's a very fair point. I think what we'll do, though, is go for a quick music break before we start
some water.
Before we start going a little bit more. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy some music. Hey guys, welcome back to the Captain Fizz and Mask Guy show. So of course we have been talking about WrestleMania and the ending of the legend, The Undertaker. The motion's a little off today in the studio here. basically the Undertaker has been an idol of, I believe, both of us for as long as we can remember.
Hey, you know what? He's a ginger, so I'm gonna go off, and I'm going to I'm going to give the man a lot of love. Plus the fact that he is Undertaker, hands down, is the greatest character ever in professional wrestling. Who would have thought that a dead man gimmick would be as over as it is in 2017, but it absolutely works as well today as it did back in 1990. It's, I don't know, the words escape me.
And that's pretty much going to be our entire show. That's why I enjoyed watching him putting down his hat and all that, without sound, because it pretty much immortalized the feeling and the emotion of such an important event, such as the retiring of a legend. The sound distracted from what was going on. I can't help but say, though, when he started to take off his hat, I was expecting, for one split moment, the usual Undertaker look. With the eyes rolled back one last time.
And I think there was a little bit of that. I think he did it for a second there, but it was...
It would have been the ultimate way to officially end an era, a legend, and an idol of so many people. I believe, and speaking just from what I've seen from people I've grown up with as well, that Undertaker inspired so many people to get into wrestling, to watch wrestling, to join a wrestling team, to be that person. He was an inspiration for so many people.
Absolutely.
And I feel very ashamed for, the kids and everybody else who's growing up, post Undertaker, because you have no idea what you're missing.
But you know what? There was, as much as, the impact of Undertaker retiring is, kind of, seems to outweigh a lot of stuff that went on in WrestleMania. There was a whole lot more that went on there. I simply don't have the time or the energy to go off and to go through everything. One thing I really wanted to talk about is the return of the Hardy Boys.
Yes, I actually saw the video last night. A friend of mine actually sent this video to me, and I thought, okay, it's fabricated, it's not real. But it's the real. Moment they came out, my heart stopped. Now, it's only pure ironic joy that the Hardy brothers come back the same day that the Undertaker ends. It's ironic.
This to me is just absolutely amazing, because my wife actually has suggested to me earlier in the day that the Hardys were coming back, and I says, well, no, honey, there's not much chance of that, because you have to run drug tests and everything. And they had just finished up with Ring of Honor the day before, where they had lost the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships to the Young Bucks. And, that in itself is amazing. The Hardy Boys are literally the only tag team in the history of professional wrestling who have held the TNA World Tag Team titles, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, and the WWE Tag Team titles. And the fact that they have held all three of those championships in the same calendar year is even more amazing. And so when they showed up, it was absolutely amazing. They kind of teased having New Day join into the triple threat ladder match for the Raw Tag Team titles, only for the Hardy Boys music to hit and for them to come out. And it absolutely, that in itself was, I think, probably my second favorite WrestleMania moment after The Undertaker's, retirement. And it was absolutely great, and especially in the ladder match. It's a match that they helped make famous.
This is literally the match that they were best known for. The
players had changed, but being...
Oh, you know what? The moment the music hit, because I was watching clips of it, and the music hit, and I'm going, okay, somebody's using their music. Like, what the heck is this, right? And their faces appear out of nowhere and they start running down, and the pure smile that was on their face and the absolute shock and joy of everybody in that building pretty much says what everybody was feeling was, holy crap, they're back.
It was a great moment. I know a lot of people are asking why they aren't using the broken gimmick that they were using in TNA and that they've been using on the indie scene. The big reason for that is that currently they are in the parent company of TNA, Anthem, is actually suing them over the rights to the broken gimmick, since they went up and they used it. They were using it on episodes of Impact Wrestling, and so they've had to downplay a lot of the stuff. That's why you don't see them on air going delete, delete, delete. And Matt Hardy has really played down his character, who was kind of kind of a psychopath who spoke almost in the third person and stuff. And I think once this whole thing with Anthem gets put behind the scenes, WWE will allow them to kind of start using those characters more, because that's what made them red hot. That's part of the reason why Vince and Triple H wanted to get them back, because they were so hot, and they are going. They really need to have these characters to get back up to that level. But I mean, just having the Hardys back in WWE is just absolutely great, and Anthem was absolute fools for the way they treated the Hardys on their way out the door.
I think it was one of those things that nobody really expected to happen. We always dream.
Well, I mean, we knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen this quickly.
Well, yeah, and you always dream about it, because obviously the Hardy brothers were definitely big on everybody's heart back in the day. I used to love them just because the high flying attitude and the power behind them. It made wrestling what wrestling should have been. So that's what caught my interest so much when I was a kid, was watching wrestling, is because of those two, and the Dudley brothers
and the Dudley boys. I mean, their matches with the Dudleys and with Edge and Christian were phenomenal.
Absolutely epic, as Reem would say.
Yeah, absolutely epic. The thing of legends, if you will. So I absolutely love that. I can touch on a couple other things from that night. There were several title changes. We saw Randy Orton beat Bray Wyatt for the WWE title in what can only be described as a really bizarre match. For whatever reason, Vince thought it would be funny if they would go off and would project images of cockroaches and worms and maggots, during the matchup onto the wrestling mat. I kid you not, it was the most bizarre thing in the world. I had, I guess, to go back to the Bray Wyatt's powers and everything. It just felt like it took away from the match, and I think I'm not the only one who agrees that Bray Wyatt should have won that matchup. From a storyline purpose, I understand why Randy needed to win, but he didn't need to win. Bray Wyatt, was far more deserving and far more needed to have the title than Randy does. I mean, now Randy's a 13-time world champion. Brock Lesnar defeated Bill Goldberg, no surprise. The matchup actually, I think, was longer than all of Bill Goldberg's matches and in-ring interactions since he returned back in November. I believe during the match, Brock Lesnar German suplexed Goldberg 10 times.
Holy smokes.
Although Goldberg did spear Brock Lesnar, I believe, 3 or 4 times, once right through a barricade.
So the bigger question was Brock Lesnar on steroids?
That's an excellent question. I have a suspicion, that he's probably the only person who didn't get tested. And I also, heard that Brock Lesnar is the highest paid athlete in WWE right now. So, you got the highest paid athlete, and you've got, drug testing. Maybe we aren't going to do the drug testing on Brock for, a couple of weeks here,
Yeah, we'll test him after the match, because that's how people do it.
That's how people do it. And, of course, the Hardys won the Raw Tag Team Championships. Kevin Owens beat Chris Jericho for the United States Championship, which doesn't surprise me.
Surprise!
Jericho's on his way out the door. He's actually stayed longer than he planned to. He's going to be going on tour again with Fozzy.